Hello. Today we're going to talk about basic setups on an acoustic guitar. This is a Sigma guitar, Japanese-made Martin guitar from the 1970s that was purchased at a pawn shop, and we're going to restore it, clean it up, and get it back to playing again. So I want to talk about just the basics of doing a setup on an acoustic. The first thing you want to do is you want to use the old strings on the guitar to get it tuned to pitch. If the strings are still in good enough shape, you want to do that so that you can adjust your neck and assess the string height and saddle height without having to take new strings back off of the guitar. So I usually use a snark tuner to get the guitar tuned up to pitch, which I have already done. A couple of tools that you'll need for the minimum setup: you will need a capo, you will need a set of feeler gauges like this, which can be purchased inexpensively on Amazon, and these are not a very expensive set of feeler gauges that I've been using for a while that have done just fine. And then I like to use a string action ruler to be able to do the string height. So the first thing we need to do is to assess the neck, and we want to see if the neck has a bow in it, or if it's not straight. So the way you want to do that is you want to take your capo and you want to put it directly on top of the first fret, because what that does is that enables us to be able to use this string as a straight edge to be able to assess the neck if it is curved. So you want to get your feeler gauges out and get them ready, and you want to take your finger and press it down on the 12th fret, and that creates your straight edge. And you want to use your feeler gauges at the 8th fret, and usually what I do is I start it, depending on if the neck is significantly bowed or in significant relief, I usually start at 12 1/1000ths, 0.012, and just try to get it up underneath the string, which this one will not go. So then I start progressively going down in size. That's 11 1/1000ths. That is 8 1/1000ths. Getting closer. 6 1/1000ths. So that easily slides between the fret and the string. You want to make sure that it's not pushing up too much on it. As you can see here, when you try to put 11 1/1000ths, it just won't go. So it looks like it is about 6 1/1000ths. So I always like to write that down. So it is, the neck relief is at 0.006 inches. Okay, so that means that this neck is relatively straight. Typically you want the neck relief to be somewhere between 8 1/1000ths and 3 or 4 1/1000ths. So that means this neck is relatively straight. Another tool that you can use is one of these nifty gadgets, and I know you can't see this from your angle. So this is a 25 and1/2 inch scale on this guitar. And so you put the straight edge on it, and then you can look from the side and be able to tell whether or not you've got a gap up underneath. So this can be a nifty tool, but not very easy to get an exact measurement, especially if you have to adjust the truss rod. So in this guitar, if it needed to be adjusted, if there was too much bow, then you would adjust the truss rod, which this truss rod is in the sound hole. It is just inside this area here. And so you would take a truss rod wrench like so. We want to access the nut from the inside. And this is I got lucky and picked the right wrench. And so you want to turn the truss rod, make sure that it actually moves, and this one does. But we're not going to adjust it because the neck is relatively straight. So the next piece is looking at the nut height. So I use my feeler gauges, and I start at the low E, and this is 25 thousandths. I try to slide it up underneath. That's a little tight. So I go to 22 1,000ths. That's a little tight. Go here to 20. Looks like it's going to be about 18. So this is about 18 1,000ths. Let's check the high E side. It's about the same. So this nut height is appropriate. It's not too high. It's not too low. So there again, always keep yourself organized. And I like to write down the nut height. So we've got 0.018 for the low E and 0.018 for the high E. 18 thousandths on both. The last part of the basic setup for an acoustic would be to look at the string height. So that's when I like to use the string height string action ruler, so we can see, you know, is the action too high or is the action too low, which may affect us having to deal with the bridge down here. So I like to turn the guitar on its side like this, and we put this string action gauge at the 12th fret, and we put it right up against the string like so. And so we can see here that string height is about 8 1,000ths on the low E, and it's about 7 1,000ths on the high E string. So that is just about perfect. So this string height in action is about perfect on this this pawn shop guitar. So it's probably not going to require a lot of saddle sanding. So basically, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the strings off the guitar, then you know, tighten everything down, do an assessment of the inside of the guitar with a mirror and a flashlight to look at the bracing. This guitar actually has a pickup in it, so I'm going to look at that, make sure that the undersaddle pickup is okay. And then we'll use some quadruple O steel wool to clean the fretboard, and then also polish the frets and check the frets to make sure that they're even, and clean the guitar up, and that's about it. So that's your basic 3-step process, looking at the neck relief, looking at the nut height, and then looking at the action. And that's how you do it. You just need a few tools and lots of practice doing it on lots of guitars. So anyway, I hope that was helpful, and until our next video.